Darien Fenton.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Labour. How many workplace deaths have there been in the last 4 years?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
I cannot provide definitive statistics for 2011 and 2012. They're not yet available. What I can tell the member is that since 2003, on average, there have been 75 workplace deaths per year.
Supplementary question, Darien Fenton.
To the Minister. Further to his answer to my question on the 3rd of July about safety in the forestry industry, where he said, quote, "We know what the problem is, actually we know what the solutions are," close quote. Can he tell me what solutions he has to long working hours in this dangerous industry, while at the same time he's trying to cut rest and meal breaks for all workers?
Speaker.
Honourable Simon Bridges.
Well, as the member knows, she and I have a different perspective on that. She would say that it's primarily about hours and meal breaks and so on. What I say, and actually what I've heard, is that it's much more about some of the substantive issues in forestry that the approved code of practice deal with, like tree felling and having the correct techniques there and breaking out and the equipment and the gear used for that.
Supplementary question, Darien Fenton.
To the Minister, how can he claim he knows the solutions when the provisions for breaks and fatigue management in his 2012 approved code of practice are similar, if in fact not weaker, than the provisions of the 1999 approved code of practice signed by the Honourable Max Bradford?
Honourable
Speaker.
Simon Bridges.
Well, I think, as I've made clear again previously to the member, there have been agendas and action plans, but what is new and what is recent is the approved code of practice for safety and health in forestry operations. And what I've heard when I've been with owners, with inspectors and the like, is that actually, if this is followed, we won't have the number of deaths that we have today. Now, the member and I both agree there are far too many deaths. We need to see this bed in and put into practice in a much greater way than it has been.
Supplementary question, Denise Roche.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. How many more deaths in the forestry industry need to happen before this government will action an inquiry into health and safety in the forestry sector?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
Well, no death is good enough. It's entirely unacceptable. But I think this government, more than any other government in the history of New Zealand, has had royal commissions and inquiries in the health and safety arena. I will very soon be responding in, I think, a substantive way to the Independent Health and Safety Task Force. And of course, we're setting up WorkSafe New Zealand, an independent agency. So I think we can quite rightly make the case we have done more than any government in this area, and an inquiry in relation to forests specifically isn't needed. Actually, what we need to do is bed in good practice that we know about.
Supplementary question, Darien Fenton.
To the Minister, given that the forestry owners are now also saying there should be an independent inquiry, will he take responsibility for any forestry deaths while he continues to insist he has all the answers?
Speaker, I don't think the member is correct, because what she calls an inquiry isn't actually what, as I understand it, the forestry owners are talking about. So I've certainly made it quite clear I don't support a government-led inquiry, but if forestry owners are prepared to go out and do some of the things, that's good. But as I've also said on record, I think we actually know what the solutions are. It's about embedding them and seeing them acted out and practiced in our forests around New Zealand.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Will the Minister take responsibility for due compensation to be paid to the 29 Pike River families, given the failure of his department to uphold proper standards of workplace safety? And if not, will the government change legislation to make the directors of Pike River Coal Company directly responsible for that compensation?
Honourable Simon Bridges.
Speaker, I need to be, I think, reasonably judicious in answering that question, because the fact of the matter is there's still related matters before the court, and I haven't received substantive legal advice on that very issue.
That concludes question or oral answer. Honourable members, I have received a letter from Dr Kennedy Graham seeking to debate under Standing Order 386, the signing of a free trade agreement with Taiwan. This is a particular case of recent occurrence involving ministerial responsibility. The Government is required to present such international agreements to the House along with a national interest analysis. These stand referred to the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Committee for examination. This is the manner in which the House considers such agreements in the first instance. In this case, the member's own authentication indicates that legislation is also required to give the agreement effect sometime during next year. There would need to be something exceptional about such a free trade agreement to warrant the business of a House being set aside for an urgent debate. There is nothing in the member's application that convinces me that I would be justified in allowing a debate today. The application is therefore declined. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.